So to make the slip to attach additive sculpture, in the cabinets that are over by the door that are all labeled clay tools, there's some really dry, bone dry pieces of clay. And I would just fill these up with water so it's submerged. Let it sit for like 20 minutes and then mix it up, and you should have a really consistent slip like this. Obviously, it'll be more like this. This is some extra clay in here. And then I just divvy that up into some old lidded containers, and all of these are together over in the cabinets. So we talk about slip being like clay glue, and I show them the process. I don't know how much you know about clay, Erin, but I'm just going to show you what I do. Take forks, scratch both directions, and then wherever it's going to go on your artwork. And I say this is like creating a sort of Velcro that's going to make it stick together. And then I tell them you're welcome to touch the slip if you want to, because some of them really want to, and some of them are totally grossed out by it. So I say use a tool, it's totally fine. Paint a thick layer of slip, and then gently press it, your piece down onto your mask. Now I tell them, you know, what happens in the kiln. We talk a little bit about kiln, how kilns work. And I say, okay, if there's all this really, really hot air and it's rising and expanding, what's going to happen if air gets in between these two pieces? It's going to pop off. So I said the last thing after you slip and score is to smooth all the way around whatever edge that you have made. So I'll actually pick up the artwork, show them how to connect like this. Right? And I tell them it's really important to add stuff and subtract stuff, not just draw on it. And I actually do an example. I'm like, ooh, look, how interesting is this if you just go like this, right? No, it's not a drawing. It's not paper and pencil. It's sculpture. So you have to actually add things or take things away. So I might show them, another technique would be showing them how to make a coil. And I show them how to roll a small coil in their hand or roll one on the table. And then we talk about using that as a connecting element too, like if you wanted to use that for a nose or something like that. Slipping and scoring and smoothing all the way, of course. So we might do that on the second day. The third day when they come back, their artwork has been on their shelf. I show them how to wrap it up, how to make sure the ends of the plastic bag are tucked in. And we have tons of recycled or reused plastic bags behind the document camera next to the window in those old clay storage boxes on casters. But then this trimester, tons of families brought in new plastic bags and new garbage bags. So if you want to start brand new from scratch, that's totally fine. So on the third day, they get their artwork out. I show them some reductive techniques. So I say, you know, look at your sketch. What would you like to carve in? You know, if I wanted to carve in the areas of the leaves, what I would do is actually take my tool and I show them how to carve in some so that you get a sense of depth. But I tell them don't go too far because you want your mask to remain strong. I show them how to use your finger to kind of smooth out edges, or once it's a little bit dry, something like this. And then I might also talk about texture, like take out the different tools and show them how you can press the tools in to make texture. And I remind them that they have to follow their plan. Their sketch should be by them the whole time. They can't ask me for help unless their sketch is by them, because I can't work without a visual. So we probably would take 2 days to work on the actual sculpture part. Some kids might need 3. I'll leave that totally up to you. On the last day of actual sculpting, what I would do, check in with each kid, make sure they've all got all their pieces together, make sure that everything is connected at this point. If it's not connected and I see there's bad connections, they haven't slipped or scored, or they pick it up and stuff falls off, I'm like, I'm not firing that until you fix it. because it's just going to be way easier for you. So, oh, the other thing is, usually I tell them nothing relief-wise that pops out more than an inch. Number one, you won't be able to fit them all in the kiln. Number two, stuff falls off. Some of them want to put like these horns that are like 4 inches tall. I'm like, no, you can't. It's not structurally sound. It's gonna, you'll huff puff and it'll blow the whole house down. So I make sure everything is connected well, everything's structurally sound. Then on the back, with my own needle tool, I don't let them do this because for some reason their handwriting gets twice as bad when they try and use these pointy wooden sticks and clay. I have them tell me their first name, make sure it's spelled right, their last name, and then I just put their hour on there, not their whole code. And I put it somewhere that's very conspicuous, you can see it, and then I gather them all, and then I start drying them out to be fired. At this point, you know, you're 3 days into this project, you're going to stop, you're going to make sure everything gets dried out, everything is bone dry before you bisque fire, and you start another project the next time you see them. So you have to stop this one, do another project. Once everything's been bisque fired, then you stop that second project, do this one. I know it seems kind of start and stop, but it works way better than trying to get all of these fired in between. And I'll do another video and show you what I do with glazing, probably just on the turtles, but it's the same principle. I let them use symbolic colors if they want to, and usually 2 to 3 coats of glaze. And of course, they can glaze the edges if they want to, but they don't have to. It looks nice if they don't too, but never anything on the bottom. So that, in a nutshell, is that one. And then once everything's been glazed and fired, I have a rubric, you know, where they grade, you grade. There's a question for them to consider about, you know, draw me a sketch of your original idea, because I tried at one time to have them turn this into, but it just, they all got lost or torn up because they had clay on them and stuff. So instead I say, you know, draw all the things that are on your mask. And that kind of gives me some, a hint that they remembered all of it. So I use this as my grading tool, but if you want to try something different, that's totally fine too. And then, you know, you have to grade them all. I usually put them on one of the big counters, divide up one of the big counters into 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, have them turn them in with the evaluation folded underneath them like this. And then when it's time for them to bring them home, or probably a week before they bring them home, I tell them to bring in packing material, bags or boxes to bring them home in. Some kids forget, and we have plenty of paper towel to wrap stuff up in, but a lot of kids appreciate knowing that they will have a safe transport home for their artwork.